Hello and welcome to a very special episode of the Unicorner, the fourth Unicorner, and this time with a capacity so big and so talented that there's only room for one guest, and it's of course Mads.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. Maybe you could introduce yourself a little bit.
My name is Mads. I've been working at Umbraco for a little more than 3 years, and I am here as a front-end developer and a designer. I figured out that I might be in the role of a UX engineer. I found out that that was a thing. So somewhere in between the UX and actually building up the UX of our products.
I think that covers it beautifully. And today I thought that we could give a little bit of insight on how some of the new features in V8 is done from a UI or UX engineering perspective.
Yes.
And in particular, I've thought about two things.
Mm-hmm.
But before we do that, there's a tradition with Friendly and Hungry.
Yes.
And I thought, hey, let's just start with that one. So, Mads, if you should give a tip to someone.
So, I don't know if it's friendly or hungry or what it is, but I brought this book and I recommended it before. It's called Show Your Work. I can maybe show it here.
Oh, can I zoom?
Maybe I can get a little bit.
Oh
closer.
yeah, analog zoom. Beautiful.
Yes, and it's a book about how showing your work can actually make you better at doing something. And I think that showing your work is something we're already really good at in the Umbraco community. But when I read this book, I actually found out that I could share a lot more of what I do, and also sharing things that I learn or can be valuable to other people. So my tip or suggestion or friendly advice is, when you do something, share it and share the progress along the way. And we as Umbraco can learn a lot from seeing other people's work, what they built, not only the final product, but also how did they do the user experience in the back office, which property editors did they use, did they build something their own, or which packages.
Yeah, we love, so every now and then there's someone dropping by our office, and we love that, to hear about how they actually work. Especially,
yeah. So, and I just love the first chapter, and it's just, you don't have to be a genius.
Amen.
Yes.
And I guess it's, there's also an old saying that if you can't teach it, you haven't learned it, or something like that.
Yeah.
So I guess that goes along the way as well.
So, and after I read this book, I just felt like coming home from a conference. I just wanted to create stuff.
Sweet. And you actually did, right? Is it?
Yes.
Your website is mass.space?
Exactly. That's solely based on the outcome of this book. So after I read that one, I just wanted to have a new space where I can share when I learn new stuff. So that's why I created a website.
Oh, cool. And you're even you're dog fooding at that space. Actually, you're using headless, right?
Yeah, I wanted to try Umbraco headless cool. to build a new project. So I'm testing out some Node and some JavaScript frameworks to try and push our product and figure out what can we do now and what do we need to improve on to actually make a product that works in production.
Oh, super nice, super nice. But so was that Friendly and Hungry combined?
I don't know. It might be.
We'll take it as Friendly and Hungry combined.
Yeah.
So we should talk a little bit about V8.
Yes.
The mysterious V8. You've been working on, of course, a lot of things on V8, but in particular, two things we're pretty excited about, which is infinite editing and content apps.
Yeah.
At least that's what the features are called right now. And I'm gonna see. I'm gonna put on a video here, which shows infinite editing.
Let me see which one. Yeah. So this one or this video shows how you on a content node actually are able with infinite editing to change the doc type directly without switching context.
That's super cool. That was actually the one we were supposed to show at the end.
That was jumping right into it.
I really love the idea about this, and maybe if we zoom out a little bit about what's the idea with infinite editing. I guess it's when I came to you, I said this should be an extension of this idea of flow, that we don't interrupt people.
Yeah.
And then it was actually also inspired by a guy called Niels who came by the HQ almost 1.5 years ago, I think.
Something.
And presented an idea that was it was taking infinite editing to the extreme, but in a really clever way. But this was kind of what we could accomplish right now.
Yeah. So I think we had some of the ideas in ourselves, but we didn't really know how we could take it further. So we saw the first ideas of simplifying workflows when we built what we still call the new doc type editor, which should have a new name now. But when we built the doc type editor, where we took a really complex workflow that you have to create data types and you have to set up your tabs and combine it into one editor and make it possible to do all of these things within one editor. And I think it's combining the work with that, or the work from that, with the ideas that Niels came with, and actually making it into a full editing experience throughout the back office. So when you use the media picker and you want to set crops or want to change things on media items, you should be able to go directly to the media library without switching context and without getting interrupted.
No. And this feature was actually ready in the preview we shared at Code Garden.
Yep.
And I think Mads Rasmussen, he actually came to you doing Code Garden, right, and said, hey, let's talk about this.
Yeah, I actually approached him and said, hey, you were the father of these ideas. I want your feedback. If you're available for feedback, please have a look, try it out and test it. And if you want to give feedback on how we can improve on these basic or these ideas, that would be lovely. And he did.
Which was really nice. I actually think I have a photo from the other day. Or I thought I have, but now I can't find it because he actually came by the office again.
Yep.
Last week, and we had a really nice session with him in regards to infinite editing and some pretty interesting challenges around not getting lost.
Yeah, so we had, that was one of the things that I asked him about. Is that I have these challenges with infinite editing, and one of them is that if you go really deep in an infinite flow, you have the challenge of actually forgetting where you came from. So there's a risk that you can get lost when you are able to just keep moving on. And the other challenge is that sometimes you have content pickers and you change something on a node that is picked on many other nodes. Yep. So we needed a clear indication of when you actually are changing something that a lot of other stuff is relying on. So those were the two main challenges. And he came with some really good input on how we can keep going or improve on what we did.
Now I desperately want to find that photo, but maybe we can share it on Twitter, which you can also use, by the way, if you have suggestions to how this format can be improved or any question. It's the Chief Unicorn on Twitter. So now I got a chance to plug that as well.
Cool.
But I think the main thing about I guess this process is we try to do it as it actually started with us listening. We had this idea for a while. Then we actually listened to some of the people who come up with great ideas. Sometimes it's direct feedback. Sometimes it's script articles or on issues. And then we iterate as good as we can. Yep. And then we really rely on people giving feedback and sharing their thoughts. And Niels from Spring Summer, he did a top-notch job on that one. It was super inspiring.
Yeah, we spent the entire day with him, just iterating over different ideas on how we can fix some of these challenges.
Yeah, so it's super nice of him to drop by the office.
Yes.
Then there's another feature in V8.
Yes.
And it's this thing called content apps. I'm just going to roll this video that kind of shows the idea of content apps. So it's actually the reason why we removed the tabs, and we can get back to that one. But the idea with content apps is that you might right now you can only edit content in Umbraco when you're on a content node, and maybe you want to do something else instead. That could be seeing statistics, or if you have a form on a page, see form requests or form submissions. What were the challenges so far with that feature, apart from me being really bad at briefing you?
Yeah, so the challenges are that now you're actually able to add what are called extra views or extra apps, in this case, for a specific content type or a specific doc type. And we wanted to make, in the first version at least, make it read-only, so you can show data and you can read data about the content apps. There was some main challenge about how should we show this in the UI, how should the visual be there, how should the configuration of these content apps be. So that was some of them.
Cool, but I think I'm super excited about this feature.
I think
because it's a whole new chapter, and it's also a result of the many hacks we've seen where people build a property editor that doesn't edit anything but can show information.
Yeah.
So the idea was really, and it started quite a number of years ago, this idea that you should be able to do this. And it's also one of the reasons why we removed tabs. Apart from it not maybe not being as necessary anymore as it used to, but also giving space for these kind of things.
Yeah, exactly. And I like the idea that it's again to try to simplify the workflow for one of our personas. In this case, it's the editor. By combining all the information that is needed for one specific node. If you have one of the examples we see in this small video is that if you have analytics on your page, you're able to show analytics for that specific node. If you have a form on that node, you're able to show form entries for that specific form. So you don't have to switch context all the time to actually get the information you need to for that specific node. I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, plus it's a new extension point. And
it's a new extension point.
It's always exciting to see what the community and ecosystem come up with.
Yeah, we came up with a couple ideas, but when it gets out there, it's ready to explode and just see all the ideas come up.
Yeah, and also because we keep talking about that we're not a suite, we're a best of breed product. We make a CMS, and that's what we're really good at. And then, you know, if you need personalization or if you need some sort of marketing automation, then you go out and use these external products. But now the experience can really be nicely integrated into Umbraco 8. So that's super exciting. So Mads, when is 8 coming?
I don't think I can answer that question.
Fair enough, I can't either.
I want to get it out, but
yeah, when it's ready.
Yeah, but we need to make it right.
Yeah, but the strategy so far is that we're working on getting everything for the editor ready, and then once we're there, we're gonna focus on getting everything for the people implementing Umbraco, the partners, ready, and then finally making sure that all the extension points are going to be there.
Yeah.
And during that process, we're going to release as many nightlies as possible and encourage people to test.
Yeah, and we haven't even talked about the variant part of V8 yet, which is the biggest change.
Yep.
Throughout the entire way you work with the back office.
Yep.
These are smaller solo projects going on in the back office, but variant is just going to change everything.
And it's looking so good. But that's for another Unicorner.
It is.
Because we're approaching the end, and at the end we have this tradition. I'm going to roll this. Because we have that messy basement full of stuff, and you found something.
I found something, and it's down here. It's this oven. I can move. So this is. Yeah, I can hold it.
It's an oven.
It's an oven. I don't know if you remember the story about the oven.
It was for Christmas. It was for æbleskiver.
It was for æbleskiver.
What's that called in English?
I don't know.
Apple slices doesn't translate.
No. A kind of a pancake ball.
Pancake ball is really good. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Yep, and.
I think it was Joachim, our cloud and Azure guru guy. He really wanted these æbleskiver at I don't know if it was a Christmas party or Friday bar. So he made a spontaneous trip to a shop and bought a lot of pre-made
yeah, that's right.
æbleskiver. And then he bought this very small oven, which can maybe fit, I don't know, 10 æbleskiver at the time. And it took the entire day to actually make
And it smelled so badly in the beginning because it was completely new.
Yeah.
And I remember that he bought the æbleskiver first and then realized we actually didn't have anything to cook them in.
No,
because
it took,
the lunch come from an external caterer.
So it took the entire day to make æbleskiver for everyone. But we got them.
Cool. Brilliant. I didn't even know he was in the basement. So.
Not me neither.
And Mads, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me here.
And thanks for all the awesome work so far on, well, both the V7 things we know, but also 8. That was it for this Unicorner. Again, if you have any feedback, write on Twitter, the Chief Unicorn, or in the comments field. And remember to subscribe and like and all that. And see you next time.